two teams that are actually in contention, we think, still without managers. But according to USA Today's Bob Nightingale, the Astros have chosen Dusty Baker as their new manager and are working on finalizing a contract with the 70-year-old. Baker is a three-time National League Manager of the Year, all with the Giants. He also managed for the Cubs, Reds, and most recently the Nationals, guiding his teams to 7 division titles and an NL pennant. Now, this news is not confirmed yet, guys, but if this is the case, if Dusty Baker is going to be the Astros' next manager, do you like this move for Houston? Al?
I like it a lot. Listen, I mean, you know, if you take the pros and cons of the whole thing, but based on everything that's transpired there, and you'd have to be living in a cave if you don't know what's going on in Houston, I think this organization at this time needs a personality. And oh, by the way, he's managed 3,500 big league games in 22-odd years that he's been in the big leagues. Also, by the way, 2017, he was 97 and 65 with the Nats. This guy's won everywhere he's gone with San Francisco, the Cubs, and Cincinnati. And I just think, guys, that if you look at what's going on, and you want a manager, yes, the X's and O's, there's a lot of back office stuff that allows collaboration with respect to analytics and all that. But I want a guy sitting in that dugout with the cup of coffee, with the beat writers, and being able to deflect and tell stories, and yes, manage a game. I know he's 70 years old, but there needs to be personality there, and I want experience. I need it right now. I really do.
Well, I think what has happened in Houston can be defined as not normal. Not normal behavior or procedure that has gone on. And I think Dusty Baker, I know Buck Showalter went down there and interviewed as well. Those two guys right there, to me, provide instant normalcy, guys of the no-nonsense kind of variety. Now, Dusty Baker is a player's manager. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I've never talked to a player that played for Dusty that said they didn't like him. But I believe that he is a let's go about our business this way, and I think that's exactly what Houston needs right now. They need some normalcy, along with what you talked about with a guy who brings a little bit of personality. Hey, boys, come into my office. Let's have a little chat, not only to the players but to the media covering this team, and let's go forward and put our best foot forward.
You know, and I'm glad you mentioned Buck, because I put him in the same light.
Yeah.
The ability to get your message, tell the story, be honest. Like, there's going to be a lot of residual fire brush that you got to put out with respect to, you know, the distractions. And I want a guy that's been sat in that seat and has handled it. And Buck Showalter would be another one.
Right. And both of those guys, old school guys, they have a lot of credibility and a lot of cachet. They walk in and everyone will immediately recognize that. But the Astros have been seen as an analytical team over the last number of years, especially since Luno took over. They are without a GM still currently. And when you come and you talk about A.J. Hinch, he was also a player's manager, but he was also a Stanford guy. He bridged that analytics with the current modern day in baseball. Do you think that's something that Dusty can handle? He hasn't managed since 2017. And even though analytics were already taking over the game at that point, a lot has changed even in the last couple of years.
I think if I'm Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, while all of what you just set up is great, I'm worried about making sure that I have somebody that, yes. Listen, we're not just bringing in an actor. We're bringing in a guy that's managed 3,500 games.
Yeah.
So, and oh, by the way, this team is awesome, right? Where they won 107 games last year. They're going to be really good again. So don't mess it up. So with respect to analytics, I hear you, Heidi, but just take care of the obvious. You can run out some serious dudes, and you're going to win a lot of ball games. And I like the experience, Rip.
Here's a couple thoughts I have with that. First of all, I'm not so sure the game has changed near as much as everybody else seems to. And if I go back to the postseason last year and I look at the World Series matchups, starting pitching dominated the World Series. Oh, and the Astros were in there as well. Dusty Baker had won 95 and 97 games recently with the Washington Nationals. Now, it looks all rosy now because what the Washington Nationals just did, win a World Series, but Dusty Baker and a Buck Showalter, a Mike Scioscia, a Bruce Bochy have always used information in their managerial style. And to me, that's what analytics is. You take information, you apply information to the game, and you see how this plays out. These guys are just not coming off a hay truck somewhere and saying, oh, let's just throw the bats and balls out on the field and say, go get them, guys. There's going to be a plan put in place by the oldest of baseball school guy.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because with respect to analytics, in some organizations, analytics is code for, I don't know if I want the real experienced guy that may confront me a little bit more than I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
So then you dismiss it as old school.
Yeah.
Doesn't really get or want analytics, and that's not true.
Yeah.
What manager doesn't want information?
The data, yeah.
To help make decisions.